What's up guys, Caden 86Speed here, and today is a special day because we just got a special shipment from Verus. Right on the table here is an oil pan from Verus Engineering. Now, as you might know, the Subaru BRZ and Toyota GR86 has an infamous issue at the track. And no, I'm not talking about the RTV issues, but I already talked about that in our previous video with the Felpro gasket kit. The second gen 86s have a serious issue when you're at the track making right-hand turns. I'll have a link in the description below who does a full deep dive of the oil pressure issues and the oil starvation issues of this car. He does a ton of track data with the first gen and second gen, and I highly recommend you guys watch that, but that's not going to be our topic today. We're not going to be testing and going on the track and whatnot. We're simply looking at the oil pan from Verus. So without further ado, let's open up this box and see what's inside. Alright, first thing in the box, you got some heat foil and some Verus air fresheners. Now, I do want to say that this oil pan is not in final production. This is simply still a prototype. Verus has been working on this prototype for about 2 years now, and they're still testing this oil pan every single day using a ton of different cars across the nation. I highly recommend you guys watch their YouTube when they do a full deep dive of showing their 3D printed pans and their version 1, 2, and 3 pans. I think this is version 3. I also do want to mention that since this is a prototype, this is still not available for purchase yet. They are still, like I said, working on prototypes and making sure that this oil pan can perform the absolute best for you guys. I do also want to mention that this is pretty lightweight. I'm kind of impressed. I would expect this thing to be a little bit heavier, not gonna lie. So first impressions with this oil pan, I think this is made out of cast or aluminum. I'll have a thing on the screen that'll confirm that. But I do want to mention that it looks like we have vertical baffling plates, and the pan is way bigger than the OEM pan. Okay, so this is the OEM pan and this is the Verus pan. Now obviously you can tell the difference between the two just from size. The Verus oil pan in this variation is about 1.3 to 1.4 quarts over the stock oil pan. So you're gonna be overfilling your engine, which is good because what Verus believes is happening is when you're taking those corners with high G-forces, the oil pickup will sit right here. And when you're taking hard right-hand turns, left-hand turns, there's not enough oil to feed the engine, especially with the heads and the timing cover. There's a lot of room and surface area for that oil to be sloshing around. So with the Verus oil pan, the pickup will be sitting right in between these baffles right here, these vertical baffles. And with these door flaps, as you can see right here, when you're moving the oil pan side to side, you can see the doors actually moving. Their goal is to trap that oil into the oil pan area so your oil pressures will stay at its peak. Comparing it to the OEM oil pan, very simple, very easy to understand. There's no baffling or anything, but if you look at this, you have the doors and the baffling and obviously the extra surface area for more oil. And if you look at the unique design, when I flip it over here, is this V shape. So this is actually where the headers will be coming around. On the BRZ 86 FRS, the headers will wrap around the oil pan, which is very common. Every Subaru does that. So because Verus is utilizing as much space as possible, they gave you this heat wrap because you will be putting this heat wrap along the sides of the oil pan because you don't want the exhaust heat from the headers going onto the oil pan and then overheating your oil because the exhaust gases will get up to like 1,000, 1,500 degrees. So that is very hot and you do not want your oil to get any hotter than it already is, especially on the track. Because as your oil gets hotter, it will get thinner, and as it thins out, it won't lubricate as well and you can risk spinning a rod bearing. Now I also do want to add, we're not going to be putting this on the RGR86 because we do have the HKS turbo kit. Header fitments are not confirmed yet. The only header that we believe that fits is the JDL unequal length header and obviously the stock header. If you're running this oil pan with the stock header, you will need to cut out the OEM heat shielding because like I said, this utilizes as much room as possible so you can fit more oil. So overall, I'm super happy with this product. I think Verus knows what they're doing. They've been, like I said, testing this oil pan for over 2 years. They've sent out many prototypes, this being one of them, and I'm super excited to see some GR86s rocking this oil pan and preventing this oil starvation issue. Now, Verus has mentioned that they are going to be experimenting with the horizontal baffles. As you can see, this is the vertical baffle. They're going to be experimenting with the horizontal baffle to prevent oil sloshing even further. They have mentioned that they have sent out their horizontal baffle oil pan to a guy out in California. So like I said, they're doing more testing and they want to make this oil pan as perfect as possible with little to no sloshing. Verus has gone through a ton of testing on the track with the stock oil pan and the Verus oil pan. On screen here, I'll show you a side-by-side comparison between the stock and the Verus. And the stock, as you can see, in a lot of the corners fresheners, there is a ton of oil pressure loss. And with the Verus, there's still a little bit of pressure loss, but it is widely improved and it is so much better for you guys to have this oil pan to prevent engine damage. So with that, guys, that's gonna have to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys want to stay up to date on the Verus oil pan, please be sure to follow Verus Engineering or us at 86 Speed, as we will also be giving live updates of this oil pan so you guys can see when you guys can order one for yourself. So with that, guys, we'll see you in the next video.